The buzzing sound of my husband's phone on the nightstand pulled me out of my concentration. I was working on my laptop in our bedroom when Marcus forgot his phone and went to take a shower. I glanced at the screen and saw a name that made my stomach drop. Diana from work, with a message preview that said, "Can't wait to see you tomorrow." My name is Martha Hernandez, 34, a graphic designer working from home while my husband Marcus, 36, recently got promoted to regional manager at his marketing firm. We'd been married for 8 years. What I thought were 8 happy years. I hesitated. I had never been the type to snoop through Marcus's phone. Trust was something I valued in our marriage. But that message from Diana, combined with Marcus's recent behavior, coming home late, being protective of his phone, and the sudden business trips, had planted seeds of doubt. The shower was still running. I could hear Marcus humming his favorite song. I picked up the phone. My fingers trembled slightly as I swiped to unlock it. Thank goodness he never changed his password from the day of our anniversary. The message thread with Diana loaded, and my world shattered in seconds. "Last night was amazing," read a message from 3 days ago. "The way you held me in the hotel room. I can't stop thinking about it." Marcus had replied, "You drive me crazy, D. Counting the hours until I can touch you again." The shower water was still running as tears began streaming down my face. There were dozens of messages, spanning back at least 4 months. Photos, date plans, inside jokes, even discussions about a trip they were planning for next month. I heard the water shut off. Quickly, I took screenshots of everything and sent them to my email before placing the phone exactly where he had left it. When Marcus walked back into the bedroom with just a towel around his waist, I was sitting exactly where he had left me, laptop open, but my mind was racing with questions, anger and plans. "Hey babe, have you seen my blue tie? The one with the small patterns?" he asked casually, water droplets still clinging to his shoulders. I looked up, meeting his eyes with a calmness that surprised even me. "It's in the second drawer," I replied, my voice steady despite the hurricane raging inside me. "Thanks. Big meeting tomorrow with the executive team." He smiled, that same smile that had once made my heart flutter, but now made me sick. "With Diana from work?" The words left my mouth before I could stop them. His face changed almost imperceptibly, a slight tightening around the eyes, a momentary freeze before he recovered. "Diana? Yeah, she'll be there. The whole team will." "Why?" "Just curious," I replied, watching his body language. "You've mentioned her a few times lately." He shrugged, turning away too quickly. "She's just a colleague. Nothing special." As he dressed for bed that night, I pretended everything was normal. I laughed at his jokes, discussed weekend plans, and even kissed him goodnight. But inside, I was already formulating my response to his betrayal. What Marcus didn't know was that I had already contacted a private investigator recommended by my best friend. And tomorrow while he was at his meeting, I would be gathering everything I needed to destroy his comfortable little double life. Morning came, and I watched Marcus prepare for his day with a newfound awareness of his lies. Every "I love you" felt like a knife twist. Every casual touch made my skin crawl. Yet I smiled through it all. "I might be home late tonight," he said, adjusting his tie, the blue one I had pointed out last night. "Don't wait up for dinner." "No problem," I replied, sipping my coffee. "I have a lot of work to catch up on anyway." The moment his car pulled out of our driveway, I sprang into action. I called in sick to my freelance project, then phoned the private investigator, Maxwell Cooper. "I received your message, Mrs. Hernandez," his deep voice responded. "I can meet you in an hour at the cafe you suggested." I dressed quickly, choosing an outfit that wouldn't draw attention. At the cafe, Maxwell was easy to spot, mid-50s, with observant eyes that seemed to take in every detail. "So your husband is seeing someone from his workplace," he stated after I explained the situation. I nodded, sliding my phone across the table to show him the screenshots. "Diana Lawson," I said. "According to their messages, they're meeting at the Westfield Hotel today at noon. Not at the office for a meeting like he told me." Maxwell nodded, taking notes. "I'll follow him, document everything, and report back to you by this evening. In the meantime, I suggest you secure your financial assets." That suggestion hit me like a thunderbolt. Marcus and I had joint accounts for most of our savings, money I had contributed equally to during our marriage. I thanked Maxwell and headed straight to the bank. The bank manager, a woman named Stephanie, listened sympathetically to my carefully edited story about needing to separate some funds for a surprise investment opportunity. "I can help you set up a new individual account, Mrs. Hernandez," she said. "How much would you like to transfer?" I calculated quickly. "Half of our savings," I replied. "It's money I've earned too." While waiting for the paperwork, I received a text from Maxwell with a photo attachment. My stomach clenched as I opened it to see Marcus entering the Westfield Hotel, his hand on the small of Diana's back. She was stunning, tall, blonde, probably 10 years younger than me. Documented arrival at 12:07 p.m., Maxwell's message read, "Will continue surveillance." By the time I left the bank, I had secured half of our savings in an account only I could access. My next stop was our home, where I began a careful inventory of everything I'd need. Our marriage certificate, property papers, tax returns, I photographed it all. While searching Marcus's home office for any additional evidence, I discovered a hidden folder in his filing cabinet. Inside were documents for a rental property I knew nothing about, a luxury condo downtown, purchased 6 months ago. The rental agreement listed Marcus and Diana Lawson as occupants. My hands shook with rage. Not only was he cheating on me, but he had bought property with this woman. Property paid for, at least partially, with our joint funds. I called our lawyer, who had helped us with house paperwork years ago. "Victoria, I need an emergency consultation," I said when she answered. "Today if possible. It's about a divorce." 2 hours later, sitting in Victoria's office, I laid out everything I had discovered. "He's diverting marital assets," Victoria said, examining the condo paperwork. "This is hugely beneficial for your case. With these documents and the evidence of his affair, we can file for divorce on grounds of adultery and financial deception." As we discussed strategy, my phone buzzed with more updates from Maxwell. Photos of Marcus and Diana having an intimate lunch at the hotel restaurant, holding hands across the table, and later, entering an elevator together. "How quickly can we file?" I asked Victoria. "I can have the papers ready by tomorrow," she replied. "But before we serve him, I recommend gathering more evidence about this property and any other hidden assets." When I returned home, I began packing a bag, just essentials for a few days. I wasn't sure yet where I would go, but I knew I couldn't spend another night pretending everything was normal. As I was zipping up the suitcase, I heard the garage door open. Marcus was home early. I quickly shoved the suitcase under the bed and reopened my laptop, pretending to work. "Hey, I'm home," Marcus called out, his voice cheerful. Meeting ended earlier than expected. When he entered our bedroom, he was carrying a bouquet of lilies, my favorite flowers. "What's this for?" I asked, accepting the flowers with a forced smile. "Just because I love you," he replied, leaning down to kiss my cheek. "And I wanted to tell you some exciting news. I've been selected to lead a new project, which comes with a substantial bonus." I maintained my composure, even as I wondered if this bonus was actually being funneled toward his secret life with Diana. "That's wonderful," I said. "We should celebrate." "Definitely," he agreed, loosening his tie. "How about dinner at Antonio's tomorrow night? I've already made reservations." Antonio's was where we had our first date. The calculated manipulation of the gesture made me feel physically ill. "Perfect," I managed to say. "I'm looking forward to it." That evening, I played the role of the loving wife one last time. Cooking dinner, discussing our days, even sitting through a movie together on the couch. All while the evidence of his betrayal burned in my email inbox, and the divorce papers were being prepared across town. What Marcus didn't realize as he fell asleep beside me was that I had discovered not just his affair but also his secret property. And tomorrow when his phone rang during our celebration dinner, it wouldn't be Diana calling, but my lawyer's office confirming that everything was ready for the most shocking confrontation of his life. The next morning, Victoria called to confirm the divorce papers were ready. "We can serve him at any time," she said. "Just give the word." "Tonight," I replied. "At the restaurant." My next call was to Antonio's, where I spoke with the manager, Roberto, an old friend who had known Marcus and me since our first date. "Martha, this is terrible," he said after I explained a carefully edited version of the situation. "Of course I'll help you. We can set up in the private dining area." Throughout the day, I finalized my preparations. I transferred all my personal documents to a secure cloud storage account. I confirmed a room at a hotel across town where I would stay for the next few days. I even called my parents to give them a heads up, without sharing all the sordid details yet. Most importantly, I met with Maxwell one last time to receive all his evidence. Dozens of photos, videos, and a detailed timeline of Marcus and Diana's activities over the past 2 days. "There's something else you should know," Maxwell said, sliding an additional folder across the table. I did some digging into Ms. Lawson's background. The folder contained printouts of social media posts and workplace photos. Diana wasn't just any coworker. She was the daughter of the company's CEO. "I believe your husband's recent promotion may have been influenced by this relationship," Maxwell concluded. The pieces fell into place. Marcus's rapid rise at the company, the sudden increase in his salary, the mysterious business trips, all connected to his affair with the boss's daughter. By evening, I was surprisingly calm as I dressed for dinner. I chose a black dress that Marcus had always loved, applied my makeup carefully, and even put on the diamond earrings he had given me for our 5th anniversary. "You look stunning," Marcus said when I emerged from our bedroom. "Thank you," I replied with a smile that didn't reach my eyes. "Shall we go?" The drive to Antonio's was filled with Marcus's cheerful chatter about work, carefully avoiding any mention of Diana or his team meeting from yesterday. When we arrived, Roberto greeted us warmly but gave me a subtle nod. Everything was ready. "I've given you our best table," he said, leading us to the private dining area rather than our usual spot near the window. As we settled in and ordered drinks, Marcus reached across the table to take my hand. "I've been thinking," he said, his expression serious. "With this new promotion and bonus, maybe it's time we start thinking about a family." The audacity of his statement nearly made me laugh out loud. Here he was, planning a future family with me while maintaining a secret life with another woman. "That's quite a coincidence," I replied, maintaining my composure. "I've been doing some planning for our future too." Our drinks arrived, and I raised my glass in a toast. "To new beginnings," I said. Marcus clinked his glass against mine, looking pleased. "To new beginnings," he echoed. "So tell me more about this project you're leading," I prompted, watching his face carefully. "It's a major rebranding for a national client," he said, launching into an explanation that I knew was partially true, but conveniently omitted Diana's involvement. As he spoke, I glanced at my watch. Any minute now. Right on cue, Roberto approached our table with a concerned expression. "Mr. Hernandez? There's someone here asking to see you. They say it's urgent." Marcus frowned. "Who is it?" "A gentleman from a law office," Roberto replied. "He's waiting in the lobby." Marcus looked confused. "I should go see what this is about. I'll be right back." As he stood, I touched his arm. "Actually, I think we should both hear what he has to say. Roberto, could you show him in, please?" Roberto nodded and returned moments later with a professionally dressed woman, Victoria's assistant, carrying a manila envelope. "Marcus Hernandez?" she asked. "Yes, that's me," Marcus replied, looking increasingly confused. "I'm here to serve you with divorce papers on behalf of your wife, Martha Hernandez," she stated formally, handing him the envelope. "You've been legally served." The color drained from Marcus's face as he turned to me. "Martha, what is this? Some kind of joke?" I took a sip of my wine before answering. "No joke, Marcus. I know everything about you and Diana Lawson. The affair, the condo you purchased together, the trips you've been planning." His mouth opened and closed like a fish out of water. "I can explain." "Save it," I interrupted, opening my purse to pull out a flash drive. "I have all the evidence right here. Photos, messages, documentation of the property you purchased with our joint funds." The server chose that moment to arrive with our appetizers. I smiled politely. "Could you give us a few minutes, please?" When we were alone again, Marcus leaned forward, his voice low and urgent. "Martha, listen to me. It's not what you think. Diana and I." Diana and you have been having an affair for at least 4 months. I finished for him. And don't bother denying it. I've hired a private investigator who's been following you. I pulled out my phone and showed him one of the photos Maxwell had taken, Marcus and Diana kissing in front of the hotel. His face crumpled, the facade finally breaking. I made a mistake, he said. A terrible mistake. But I love you, Martha. You're my wife. And that meant so little to you that you bought property with another woman. I replied, my voice steady despite the anger churning inside me. Tell me, was your promotion really based on merit, or was sleeping with the CEO's daughter part of your career strategy? His eyes widened in shock. He hadn't known that I knew that particular detail. The divorce papers are fairly straightforward, I continued. I'm entitled to half of all marital assets, including the value of that condo you purchased 6 months ago. Victoria thinks I have grounds to ask for more, given your deception, but I'm willing to be reasonable if you don't fight this. Marcus reached for my hand, but I pulled away. Please, Martha. We can work through this. I'll end things with Diana. I'll do whatever it takes. It's already too late, I said, standing up. Oh, and don't bother going home tonight. I've changed the locks and installed security cameras. Try to enter, and I'll have you arrested for trespassing. This was a bluff. I hadn't actually changed the locks, but the look of devastation on his face was worth it. Roberta will bring you the check, I added, gathering my purse. Consider dinner your treat, since you're so generous with our money lately. As I walked out of Antonio's with my head held high, I heard my phone ping with a text. It was from Maxwell. Ms. Lawson just arrived at Mr. Hernandez's office building. Should I continue surveillance? I smiled to myself and typed back. Yes. And make sure to get clear photos. What Marcus didn't know as he sat shell-shocked in the restaurant was that I had already contacted his company's HR department with evidence of his relationship with the CEO's daughter, triggering an internal investigation that would destroy not just his marriage, but the career he had sacrificed our relationship to build. The next morning, I woke up in my hotel room feeling lighter than I had in months. For the first time in a long time, I didn't have to pretend or wonder or worry about Marcus's lies. My phone showed 37 missed calls and 24 text messages from him, ranging from desperate pleas to angry accusations. I ignored them all and called Victoria instead. How are you holding up? She asked. Better than expected, I replied. What's our next step? Marcus's lawyer contacted me this morning, Victoria said. They want to discuss settlement options. I think your dramatic reveal rattled him. After finalizing plans with Victoria, I called my parents to explain the situation more fully. Oh honey, my mother said, her voice full of sympathy. Why don't you come stay with us for a while? Thanks, Mom, but I need to handle this on my own, I replied. But I might take you up on that offer once the dust settles. My next call was to my best friend, Elena, who had recommended Maxwell in the first place. He did what? She exclaimed after I recounted the confrontation at Antonio's. Liv, I'm coming over right now. Which hotel are you at? An hour later, Elena arrived with coffee and pastries. As we sat in my hotel room, she shook her head in disbelief. The audacity of that man, she said. Buying property with her while talking about starting a family with you? Disgusting. I nodded, taking a sip of coffee. The strange thing is, I'm not even that sad. I'm angry, yes, but mostly I feel liberated. That's because you took control of the situation, Elena said. You didn't let him gaslight you or manipulate you into forgiveness. My phone buzzed with a call from an unfamiliar number. I was about to ignore it when Elena glanced at the screen. That's the area code for Marcus's company, she said. I answered cautiously. Hello. Mrs. Hernandez? This is Patricia Reynolds from Apex Marketing's HR department, said a professional female voice. I'm calling regarding the information you sent us yesterday. Yes, Ms. Reynolds, I replied, straightening my posture even though she couldn't see me. We take these matters very seriously, she continued. Could you come in this afternoon to discuss the details in person? Say 2 p.m. I agreed, and after ending the call, looked at Elena with wide eyes. They want me to come in and discuss the evidence. Elena grinned. Time to dress for battle. At 1:55 p.m., I walked into the lobby of Apex Marketing wearing my most professional outfit, a navy blue pantsuit that projected confidence and authority. I was directed to a conference room where 3 people were waiting. Patricia Reynolds, the HR director, Michael Collins, the company's legal counsel, and to my surprise, Jonathan Lawson, the CEO and Diana's father. Mrs. Hernandez, thank you for coming, Patricia began after introductions. We've reviewed the documentation you provided about the relationship between your husband and Ms. Lawson. Jonathan Lawson's face was carefully neutral, but I could see tension in his jaw. What exactly are you hoping to achieve by bringing this to our attention? Michael asked, his tone slightly confrontational. I met his gaze steadily. I'm not here to create problems for your company, Mr. Collins. I'm simply ensuring that all parties have the facts as I pursue my divorce. I opened my portfolio and placed several documents on the table. These are records showing that my husband used our joint funds to purchase property with Ms. Lawson 6 months ago. During the same period, he received his promotion to regional manager. Jonathan Lawson's eyebrows shot up. I was unaware of any property purchase, he said, looking genuinely surprised. Furthermore, I continued, I have reason to believe that their relationship may have influenced my husband's rapid advancement in the company, which raises questions about your hiring and promotion practices. Patricia and Michael exchanged uncomfortable glances. Mrs. Hernandez, Michael began cautiously, are you threatening legal action against Apex Marketing? Not at all, I replied calmly. I'm simply providing information relevant to my divorce proceedings. What your company does with this information is entirely up to you. Jonathan Lawson finally spoke up. I appreciate your directness, Mrs. Hernandez. I can assure you that if there have been any improprieties in our promotion process, they will be thoroughly investigated. As the meeting concluded, Patricia walked me to the elevator. Off the record, she said quietly, thank you for bringing this to our attention. The company has strict policies about disclosure of relationships, especially when there's a power dynamic involved. I nodded. I understand. As I left the building, my phone pinged with a message from Maxwell. Marcus just arrived at Apex headquarters. Looks agitated. Perfect timing. I was halfway to my hotel when Victoria called. Marcus's lawyer reached out again. They want to meet tomorrow to discuss terms. What terms are they offering? I asked. They're willing to give you the house, half of all financial assets, and additional compensation for emotional distress, Victoria replied. They're eager to settle quickly and quietly. Tell them I'll think about it, I said, even though I had already decided to accept. The house alone was worth far more than the condo he had purchased with Diana. That evening, Elena and I celebrated with takeout and wine in my hotel room. A toast, Elena said, raising her glass, to taking out the trash and getting the house in the process. We clinked glasses, laughing, when my phone buzzed with a text. It was from a number I didn't recognize. This is Diana Lawson. We need to talk. I showed the message to Elena, who nearly choked on her wine. The audacity. Are you going to respond? I considered for a moment, then typed back. I have nothing to say to you. Her reply was immediate. I didn't know he was married. I swear. I scoffed out loud. Right. And I'm sure you didn't know buying property together might be problematic either. My phone rang, Diana calling now. I declined the call and blocked the number. Let her deal with her father. I told Elena. I'm done with both of them. The following morning, I met with Victoria and Marcus's lawyer in Victoria's office. Marcus wasn't present, which was fine by me. His lawyer, a slick-looking man named James Wilson, slid a settlement proposal across the table. My client is prepared to be extremely generous, given the circumstances. I reviewed the document carefully. The terms were indeed generous. The house, my car, half of all financial assets including retirement accounts, and an additional $50,000 for emotional distress. And what does Marcus want in return? I asked, knowing there had to be a catch. Confidentiality, James replied promptly. Mr. Hernandez requests that you refrain from further discussion of his personal affairs with his employer or colleagues. I glanced at Victoria, who gave me a subtle nod. I'll accept these terms, I said, on one condition. I want it in writing that he will have no claim to any business I start in the future. James hesitated, then nodded. I believe that can be arranged. As I left the meeting, I felt a sense of closure beginning to form. Not healing. That would take time. But the satisfaction of knowing I had stood up for myself and secured my future. What Marcus didn't realize, as he desperately tried to salvage his reputation at work and with Diana's father, was that I had already turned down job offers from two of Apex Marketing's biggest competitors, who were very interested in hiring someone with inside knowledge of the company's recent scandal. Knowledge that no confidentiality agreement could completely suppress. 6 months later, I stood in the doorway of my new office, admiring the freshly painted walls and the sign on the door. Martha Hernandez, Creative Director. After finalizing my divorce from Marcus, I had taken some time to regroup before accepting a position at Meridian Advertising, Apex Marketing's biggest competitor. My new salary was nearly double what I had been making as a freelance graphic designer. Settling in okay? Asked Rachel, the CEO of Meridian, as she passed by my office. Perfectly, I replied with a genuine smile. The team's incredible. We're lucky to have you, Rachel said. That campaign pitch you developed for the Newman account was brilliant. As Rachel walked away, my phone pinged with a text from Elena. Drinks tonight to celebrate your 1-month work anniversary? Absolutely, I replied. The usual place at 7? It had been a whirlwind few months. After the divorce was finalized, I sold the house, too many memories, and bought a sleek downtown condo with a stunning view of the city skyline. I invested the rest of the settlement money and started rebuilding my life on my terms. I hadn't heard much about Marcus, and that was fine with me. Occasionally, Elena would share some industry gossip. How he had been demoted after the internal investigation at Apex, how Diana had broken things off when her father discovered the full extent of their deception, how the condo they had purchased together was now on the market. I didn't waste energy feeling vindicated. I was too busy thriving. At 6:30, I wrapped up my work and headed out to meet Elena. As I walked through the lobby, I nearly collided with someone entering the building. I'm sorry I wasn't. I began, then froze. Marcus. He looked different, thinner, more tired, his once immaculate suit slightly rumpled. Martha, he said, clearly as surprised to see me as I was to see him. I didn't know you worked here. 6 weeks now, I replied, keeping my voice neutral. What brings you to Meridian? He shifted uncomfortably. Job interview. Apex and I parted ways. I wasn't surprised. After Jonathan Lawson discovered that Marcus had not only dated his daughter without disclosure, but had also used company resources to facilitate their relationship, his position had become untenable. I see, I said. Well, good luck. I moved to walk past him, but he gently touched my arm. Martha, wait. I've wanted to tell you. I'm sorry. Truly sorry for everything. I looked at him, really looked at him, for the first time in months. The man I had once loved, who had betrayed me so completely. I felt nothing but a distant pity. I appreciate that, Marcus, I said sincerely. I hope you find what you're looking for. As I turned to leave, he called after me. Are you happy? I paused, considering the question. The past 6 months had been challenging, painful at times, but also incredibly empowering. Yes, I said, realizing as the word left my mouth that it was absolutely true. I am. At the bar, I recounted the encounter to Elena, who was appropriately shocked. Meridian is interviewing him? That's awkward, she said, sipping her martini. I shrugged. It doesn't matter. Different departments, and anyway, based on what I've heard about his recent performance, he's unlikely to get the job. Still, Elena persisted. How did it feel to see him? Surprisingly okay, I admitted. There was a time when I thought I'd never recover from what he did. Now it just feels like a chapter that's closed. Well, here's to new chapters, Elena said, raising her glass. We clinked glasses, and as we did, I noticed a man at the bar glancing our way. He smiled when our eyes met, and I found myself smiling back. Don't look now, Elena whispered, but that guy at the bar hasn't taken his eyes off you since we got here. I noticed, I replied, feeling a flutter of something I hadn't felt in a long time. Possibility. You should go talk to him, Elena urged. I hesitated. I don't know if I'm ready for that. It's just a conversation, Elena pointed out. Not a lifetime commitment. Before I could respond, my phone buzzed with an email notification. It was from Rachel. Congratulations. The Newman account is officially yours. Contract signed this afternoon. Let's discuss next steps tomorrow. I grinned, showing the email to Elena, who squealed and ordered champagne. As we celebrated, the man from the bar approached our table. Up close, he was even more attractive. Warm brown eyes, an easy smile, and none of the slick overconfidence that I now recognized as a red flag. Excuse me, he said. I couldn't help overhearing that you're celebrating. I'm Daniel, and I'd be honored to buy you ladies a round of drinks. Elena kicked me under the table, and I laughed. Thank you, Daniel. I'm Martha, and this is Elena. We're celebrating a new client account. Impressive, he said, sliding into the chair Elena had surreptitiously kicked out for him. What line of work are you in? Advertising, I replied. I'm a creative director at Meridian. No way, Daniel said, looking genuinely interested. I'm in marketing too, but on the client side. Digital marketing director at Newman Technologies. I nearly choked on my champagne. Newman Technologies? We just signed them today. I'm leading the account. Daniel's eyes widened in surprise, then crinkled with amusement. Well, Martha, the creative director, it seems the universe is determined to make us collaborate. Elena excused herself to make a phone call, giving me an exaggerated wink as she walked away. As Daniel and I discussed our respective roles in the upcoming campaign, I felt something I hadn't experienced since before my marriage fell apart. Genuine connection, easy conversation, and the delicious uncertainty of something new beginning. Hours later, as we exchanged phone numbers for professional purposes, of course, I couldn't help but reflect on the journey that had brought me here. From the devastating discovery of Marcus's betrayal to this moment of unexpected joy. The next morning, as I prepared for my meeting with Rachel to discuss the Newman account, I received a text from Daniel. Looking forward to our professional collaboration, creative director. Coffee meeting this weekend to discuss strategy. I smiled as I typed back. Absolutely. It's a date. Professionally speaking, of course. Life had come full circle. The phone that had once revealed my husband's betrayal was now lighting up with new possibilities. And I was ready for whatever came next. In the 6 months since discovering those horrifying messages on Marcus's phone, I had lost a husband, but found myself. I had transformed betrayal into strength, heartbreak into opportunity. And standing in my office with the morning sun streaming through the windows, I knew with absolute certainty that the best chapters of my story were still being written. And this time, I was holding the pen.
And that wraps up today's story. Now we want to hear from you. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments, and let's see how far these stories reach. If this story moved you or gave you chills, give it a like, share, and subscribe for more powerful stories. One last thing, rate the story from 1 to 10 in the comments. Your feedback helps us bring you even better ones next time. Thanks for watching. We appreciate you being part of this storytelling journey.